Well, yeah. Well, that just means no questions from William. Okay. So, so we are all here, and Chris Curry, the Executive Director of the Mobile Airport Authority, is with us to provide some information. So, Chris, I'm going to let you take it away.
All right. Well, good evening. Thank you guys for inviting me to provide a 6-month presentation on the goings on at the airport. And before I start, I'd like to acknowledge board member Jamie Eisen, who just came out, and I provided a presentation. This is really a draft document. So I'll ask that at the end of the presentation that I collect them all back again. And I'll start by saying that you'll see many different funding pieces associated with this presentation, and a lot of what we've been able to acquire in funding would not be possible if the city did not set the example of providing the $30 million to the airport to get us started. So that has been very important to our effort. So I will start with the first page and sort of identify our team. Our program manager is HORE Program Management. They've been under contract with the airport a little bit over a year. In December of last year, we started our procurement process over again. And so FSB is the design team, and the construction manager at risk is Jesco. And we have both of them under contract. So if you would look at the first page that you have, that is a draft, what you will see that's different from the first concept we presented is that the location of the parking garage has shifted. So in this particular conceptual design, the parking garage is here, essentially to the south of the terminal building. Now it has been repositioned to the other side. And part of that was that the terminal would be very close to the location of a tenant. TSA has a 300-foot rule that says that you can't have any unattended parked cars in a certain area when the threat level reaches a certain color. And so we thought it was best that we just swap the location of the parking garage and eliminate the issue of the 300-foot rule. So the next page, and this is just very, very preliminary. This is a concept of the second floor of the terminal. And what we tried to do is really, we really tried to just identify space. For example, how much space do airlines need for ticket counters? What is the space for concessions? We just tried to allot space requirements for that. You'll also see the 5 gates that the terminal design will start with when we open. So you have 5 gates, and to your left, that gate is designed for a wide body aircraft. And it's also the international arrivals piece. So it's probably better displayed on the second page of the draft. You can see where it says FIS and customs. So the first floor is really just the nuts and bolts of the terminal. So it's where the airline operations people hang out, the storage of GSA equipment, mechanical, electrical, a lot of those things that's not considered very sexy, right? So the second page is where you see the main floor of the terminal. Again, if you look at the aircraft position to your far left, you'll see that yellow area that says FIS and customs. You follow me? Yes. Yeah. So this gate is what we call a swing gate. So we can close it off if it's domestic traffic, or we can open it if it's international and they need to go through Customs and Border Protection for inspection. Again, we will open with a 5-gate terminal, but the design plans will go to 12 gates. And we'll add on additional gates as necessary as volume increases at the airport. The next page really gets into the schedule that we have. And so if you look at the schedule, there's really 5 areas. There's terminal building, airfield, landside, parking deck, and rental car QTA. And I'll go through each one. The design for all 5 phases started Q1 of 2023. So when you look at the terminal building, the design started Q1 2023, and it will end quarter number 4, 2024. The construction will start in quarter number 2, 2024, and will end in quarter 4, 2025. Okay, for the airfield, the design starts Q1 2023, ends Q3 2024, construction quarter 3 2024, and it will end quarter 3 2025. And this airfield construction deals a lot with the concrete, the tarmac, the apron part of the airport. Landside design will start quarter 1 2023, end quarter 3 2024 in the construction, quarter 3 2024, in quarter 4 2025. And this involves a lot of the external portions of the terminal, economy parking lots, you name it, that is on the exterior of the airport and not on the secure side. The parking deck, design quarter 1 2023, ends quarter 4 2024, construction quarter 1 2024, and in quarter 4 2025. The rental car quick turnaround area, which is where the rental cars are returned, prepped, and returned to service. Design quarter 1 2023. End date for design quarter 3 2024. And the construction starts quarter 3 2024 and ends quarter 4 2025.
Hey, Chris, I guess one of the obvious questions is on some of these items, the design is still ongoing after the construction has started.
Well, what we, for example,
The parking deck. See, the end date of the design on the parking deck is Q4 2024, but the construction has started Q1 2024.
well, there are several instances throughout the project where design and construction is going on at the same time.
Right, that's what I was
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah, many instances throughout that. So that's common throughout the entire program.
Well, wouldn't that be listed on your deliverables on the parking deck? Have a design bid window for an ongoing design project at the same time you bid and build.
Let me,
This parking deck. This parking deck down here, wasn't it, no, it's down here, the CMAR is a solid bid. It's firm fixed bid, use firm fixed price it down there.
yeah, I'm trying to,
I'm on,
yeah, it's not labeled as a page. So
okay.
are you further along than?
I was listening and reading at the same time.
Oh, okay.
I thought y'all were the same place. I was listening.
Well, when I get there, remind me and
That's all
I'll
right.
be, okay. So if you look at the next page, you know, the MA new terminal program budget. And again, these are estimated costs. You'll see 3 projects that are design bid build. The tenant relocation of the wash rack, and the enclosure of Rabbit Creek. So, you know, sometimes we're asked, have we started with the construction of the terminal? Well, in some cases we actually have, because the wash rack project is 98% complete. The enclosure of Rabbit Creek is 99% complete. And these were critical path items that we had to complete before we could even start construction of the terminal. So those were done under what we call enabling works. They were done with the consultants that we have on call to perform that kind of work. And the tenant relocation project is currently underway. When you see the CMAR for the terminal building, you will see an estimated cost associated with that, along with the airfield, landside parking deck, and the rental car QTA. So if you recall, when we first started the project, we estimated, I think, $252 million, and with inflation and everything that's happened, we're carrying a price tag of $330 million. If you look at the next page, you'll see the different funding sources that we've identified. And again, I can't thank the city enough for the $30 million that we will use that will significantly help us towards the completion of this project. So if you look to the left, you'll see the supplemental discretionary for $100 million. That's essentially the congressional directed funding piece provided by Senator Shelby. You'll see under that FAA MAP program. So 2 years ago, we applied for and we were accepted into the military airport program. And there's very, very few airports that are accepted into that program and actually meet the requirements. So that's a set aside of funding for the FAA that we will continue to be eligible for. So for example, that 2.8 million, when you look at some of the costs of the Rabbit Creek, 940,000 of that comes from the MAP program, and then another $1.8 million we will use for utilities. There's a terminal discretionary piece. This is a general cap that the FAA will spend on terminals and airports of our size. Again, it's not money in the bank. And again, with some of the FAA money, you can be eligible for it, but you may not receive it until later years. But again, that is a cap that the FAA will spend towards terminals and airports of our size. The entitlement money is money that we receive on a yearly basis based on the amount of passenger enplanements, amount of passengers that get on an airplane here. So for example, Mobile Regional Airport is generally around $2.7 million. Lately, the downtown airport or international airport has been at $1 million. Now, we will lose some of that in the next coming years because it's based on 10,000 enplanements at the airport. So when Frontier was here and they served the airport, they provided us with that. But there's a lag in the way that the money is distributed. So the activity of the airport in 2021 will reflect in 2023. So again, if you don't have 10,000 enplanements, you're only eligible for $150,000. And so that's one of the reasons as well we're so happy to have Avelo come back to the airport, because there's an $850,000 delta that you receive because you have more than 10,000 enplanements. Below that is the Bill Airport Infrastructure Grants. As part of the Bill program, this is money that's allocated to the airport over the next 4 years. And again, this formula is based in a similar manner to the entitlements. So again, roughly $3.6 million a year collectively for both airports over 4 years. Now, with this money, again, it's allocated over 4 years. So in essence, this money is not readily available today, but again, it's allocated to the airport over the next several years. Next column is with the Transportation Demonstration Program. This was the program that Senator Shelby created, whereas $100 million was given to Mobile to support the airport and the Port of Mobile. The airport received $62 million of it. the port received $38 million. Now, what's significant about, and I'll go back to the supplemental discretionary as well with that $100,000, these federal dollars come with matches. So for the supplemental discretionary of $100,000, there's a 10% match that the airport has to put up for this grant. The transportation demonstration program is much different because that's 20% match. So in estimated numbers, to match the $62 million of the TDP is about a $16 million match for the airport. To match the $100 million is about an $11 million match for the airport. So roughly $27 million in match money to support both of those federal grants. We're still carrying the state of Alabama $31 million that the governor put into the budget that was later stripped by the Senate, but we still believe that the state of Alabama will help support this project. Again, City of Mobile, $30 million. Such a valuable piece of this program because, again, depend on how it's used within the project, it can be a significant resource for match funding. I mean, I can't say enough how important those type of funds are to the project. MAA funds thus far has been $1.1 million. I'm sure that we will eventually put more than that into it. And then we have the $15 million from the county. So again, you know, this sort of carries that $330 million price tag. And we're still competitive for additional funds. So for example, there's a bill terminal program piece of it that is competitive every year, and the airport will compete for that. I think we're in a great position because we meet all the criteria. We're shovel ready. We're going through design. We have funding support from all of our local sources, the county, the city, the state. That means a lot in the competitive process for additional funds. Yes. And that really concludes my my update. I'll take any questions that you have.
Have any questions? Chris?
What is tenant relocation?
So tenant relocations are some of those businesses that we had to relocate that were in the footprint of the airport. Some we put in other places on the airport, some we did not.
I know you said we're gonna start with five gates and then the ultimate move to 12.
Yes.
How many we have at Mobile Regional?
So at Mobile Regional, we have 6 with jet bridges. We have 4 without.
Okay.
And, you know, it's the wrong formula for today's aircraft, right? So start with 5 gates, finish with 12. But the other important piece that we have is that low-cost terminal. We have the ability in that low-cost terminal with 2 gates today to provide us some relief if we don't have enough from a capacity standpoint, and it's perfectly suited for the low-cost carriers.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Ben?
When will the carriers at Mobile Regional move to Brookley?
They will move the day the terminal opens. So one day it will be lights on, the next day it'll be lights out.
Anybody else? William? Got any questions?
Yeah.
So, since nobody else has any, something I'm sure everybody's wondering about with the Senate pulling the funding, you still have high hopes of making that up or that the state will come through, but that's not holding you up from what you're doing now, correct?
Not at all. Again, you know, the governor supports the project. We just think it came in the wrong vehicle. with the Education Trust Fund. But I think her commitment to the project, you know, we feel very comfortable that the state will support it.
It's a great report. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, Jamie, would y'all want to add in anything?
I think it's pretty amazing. That much money's been raised. If you recall, we were initially, when the number was 252, we were endeavoring to do it with zero debt. And even with the $35 million differential, you can see how it's achievable because there's additional monies that the FAA could provide. Am I correct, Chris?
That's correct.
Yeah, and so we will continue to work with the state, and even if we don't get it all this year, we will go back next year because we don't have to have it all this year. So I think Chris and Jamie and the board have done an outstanding job, but I concur with what Chris said, and I appreciate what he said, because had the city not stepped up and done what they had done when we did it, I think that everybody else could have taken maybe a grab for a lower limb on the tree than what they did. So very, very fortunate.
Jamie?
I just want to echo the thanks that Chris offered to you, the city council members, and to the mayor. Your support along the way has been instrumental in this entire project, and we're very appreciative.
One last thing I'd like to say is, you know, the airport authority is dedicated to ensuring that minority, small business, women-owned businesses have a significant role in our program. We'll continue to do outreach programs throughout. We'll continue to do all those things that it takes to make sure that everybody's included.
What's your target?
Well, we know for the design side, we have, we're at 5%. And again, that may sound small, but when we went through the progressive design delivery method, we were at 0. So we have 5% in the design. And as I mentioned, for the overall project, we will break them up into several programs. So I would anticipate, and again, you know, don't hold me to it until we sort of calculate the numbers and run the formulas, but I would estimate somewhere between 10 and 15%.
Is that overall design on all projects? Because it's broken out into several deliverables here with design costs spread out across 5 that I see right now. So we're talking about
All the design pieces is the 5.05%.
and all the design projects fall under one.
So there's 2 contracts under this program. There's the design contract that is separate from the construction manager at risk part. I expect the construction management at risk part to have a much more significant DB participation piece of it.
Is that in the design area or just in the vertical side of it?
In the vertical side of it,
But not the design area.
not the design.
So you're looking forward to FSIB to pick up the other percentage that just goes not gonna get the design portion.
Well, I mean, we look at them as two separate contracts and 2 separate formulas, right? So again, with everything that's not design, I'm hoping for 10 to 15% participation, which is where most of the money is.
What's the total design cost?
Total design cost is roughly $22 million.
That's for everything, right?
Yes.
Another comment I would make, talking with Jeff Neville earlier, you know, it's very important that American United, Delta, Frontier, Spirit, all these guys understand what they're doing. And the role that Airbus plays, just because they're delivering airplanes to them, you know, helps from the industry knowledge of what's going on in Mobile, bringing these people in like they did, these executives in like they did a couple of weeks ago for the 100th delivery of the Delta plane from Airbus. So we're in a good spot for people to understand that it won't be long before we break ground and the great things to come.
Anybody else? Well, Chris, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work. We-
Thank you.
Looking forward to all this.
You know, in most configurations, it's roughly 180 or so. And again, the